Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, move us on to the next topic, Michael.
Oh, we're going to talk about Ed. Yeah, so there's a special session happening at the Texas legislature right now, and we should have said this at the beginning of the show. We're going to cover a local topic, a state topic, and a national topic probably on every show. And
we should have said at the beginning.
Man,
gosh, who was it?
Scrap this thing, man. We're working out the kinks. Bear with us, folks. We're
episode one. I mean,
No, I like kinks. Don't get rid of them. Everyone likes kinks.
Yeah, we're not perfect. We're just like y'all. We're doing our best. So Texas Ledge is in session. They're taking on a number of topics. We're going to talk about school choice. Senate Bill 1 was the Senate version. They passed it. So I'm just going to give you kind of the rundown of what that says. If you're not following it, school choice, the debate is about an education savings account, which is a state funded. You pay property taxes. It goes to the state to fund education. In this case, the state would take $8,000 per child and put it into an account, and you could use it for other educational expenses. If you're going to go to a private school or have a homeschool tutor or in-home teacher or whatever you're doing, instead of going to the public school of choice, you would have $8,000 to do that. So the governor's running around telling everybody he's going to pass it. He held a rally during last session. And so we're now in a special session. Senate passes SB 1, I don't know, Monday. And SB 1 says essentially maximum $500 million allocation for this program, which means if you do the math, $8,000 per child, it's $62,500, the maximum 62,500 accounts. That barely touches the full school population here in Texas, which is 5.84 million students in K through 12.
Oh, whoa! I mean, that is.
Oh yeah, Brad. You are going to love this. It just gets better for you.
Oh, great! I love it already.
It's already good. So that was the rule. So, and then of those accounts, 40% are going to go to families below 185% of the federal poverty level. So for a family of 4, that's $55,000 a year. 40% of the accounts go to them, go to people low income. Oh, this thing is going to be a bureaucratic mess when you'll start to see why. 30% are going to go to people between 185 and 500% of the federal poverty level. So that's $55,000 to $150,000 a year for a family of 4 income. 20% go to people with disabilities or children with disabilities. And then I guess the other 10% is just available to first come, first serve. I don't know what they're going to do with that other 10%. And this is all going to be overseen. The bill was a mess. I tried to read it. This is going to be overseen by the comptroller, who's going to outsource it to some sort of education organization to create the application process, collect the applications, vet them. It sounds like a mess. That's just the Senate version of the bill that passed. Charles probably has more details on the House version that just dropped today.
Last night. So I don't have too many details because it's so fresh, but it's wildly different because it kind of encapsulates everything. So we know that the governor said that he wanted school choice this session, and then they would come back for school funding and teacher pay raises and things like that. Well, HB1, if I'm not mistaken, that's what they label it. Yeah. It kind of throws that all in together. And so it's school choice, teacher pay, school funding. And there's been some criticism about that. I don't think people have really digested it yet, because again, it's been less than 12 hours since it's been out. But Van Skin, who was previously with TPPF, kind of referred to it as a monstrosity, and it's an omnibus bill, kind of throwing all of this in together and saying kind of this isn't the way. And then I saw some commentary about it tying in the STAR test. And so there are some questions. I don't know, I don't know what the layout is or the makeup is in terms of how the House is looking at this now. I know there's been some question about some holdouts and stuff. So yeah, I really don't know what this looks like, I guess, until they sit down and start having this conversation and have kind of a robust dialogue like they did in the Senate. So we'll see.
This is so stupid.
You guys, before we get started the conversation, though, do you want to hear our favorite state rep, James Tallarico, talk about school choice? This was from a couple weeks ago.
Well, let me just, because the thoughts are fresh in my mind. I mean, this is all so fucking stupid. Like, why is all right, Texas, super conservative, red Texas, whatever, and school vouchers are like the, conservative, darling issue all across the nation right now. And we fuck it up this bad. This is insane. First off, teacher pay is not going to make grades better. I don't know why. Maybe they deserve more money. I don't know. I'm sure that they do. It's something that I could get behind. But how much? No one ever says how much. 3%, is it a specific number? Do they deserve 100,000? I don't know. If they doing a great job, then I guess. But this education savings account, there's so many questions that need to be answered. I've talked about this before. All right, now there's $8,000 in everyone in 63,000 people's pockets, I guess. But if you did it across the state, maybe this problem would be worse. That incentivizes just like universities to increase their prices, right? Because they know everyone has the $8,000 in their pocket. So, well, I'm just going to increase my price. But even still, beyond that, how does the taxing work? All right, we're going to send our taxes to the states, right? And they're going to create these. Is that at the end of the day, what's the point of AISD or Houston or whatever, any other independent school district? What's the point of them taxing? And what happens to all their bonds that they need to pay off? Does the state take on those bonds? I mean, this is a nightmare of a situation.
Well, just to throw out there, I did get the number for the teacher pay raises. It's 4,000 bonus. It's actually a pay provision bonus, 4,000 for full-time teachers, 2,000 for part-time teachers. That's what it was tweeted. So if it's wrong, I
don't think that's going to make anybody happy. And fine, maybe I'm not that concerned about making everyone happy, but it's just going to be $4,000 this time. And then next time it's going to be the same issue. You're going to have James Tellerico, that dude, next session talking about, well, they need more money. Well, when does it stop? Right? When are they making enough? Can you give me a number, James Tellerico? Can anybody give me, when is it enough? And this is something that I can get behind. My mother was a teacher for a very long time. I've nothing against teachers. Well, maybe teachers unions I have something against, but teachers and my kids' teachers, I love them. They're great. Do they deserve more money? Sure. Yes. How much? And when do you stop asking for more?
Brad, I knew you were going to love this. So the angle that's real critical here is it's not James Tallaricos that are creating this problem in Texas. It's the rural Republicans. It's Rep. Drew Darby.
Every problem is James Tellerico's problem. 1, 2. I was only referring to James Tellerico and as a general boogeyman, right, against this. I know that the rural Republicans think that the local public school is the end all be all. You can't have community without it. Friday night lights, football, whatever. Got to have a jumbotron. I know they think that it's stupid. Why can't you? Why would that go away? Right? Why are you trapping children in failing schools or just schools that they don't want to be in? Their families want a different option just because it's the community center. Go fuck yourself. Make it. It's still a community center. It's the largest employee in the county or the city or whatever. Okay. There's still demand for jobs for teachers. It's not like the demand goes away. These kids are going to get teachers. How many people are going to be able to homeschool? You can't have a single income family, a single income household anymore. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Well, and I think you make a good point though, right? Because the
point, I make a lot of good points, Charles.
The point of this is to provide what's in the best interest of the kids. So like, if that is our goal, then all these other things shouldn't really matter, whether or not we're propping up failing school districts, whether or not we're keeping people employed, whether or not we're keeping the Friday night lights on, whether or not they're being able to build these huge gymnasiums and pools and all this other stuff that these districts are doing. Doesn't really matter if the underlying goal here is to give parents an opportunity to find the best education for their child. And so I think, I agree. None of this matters, but I think politically for a lot of these people, it does, unfortunately. But it's those rural Republicans. But I do think that My issue, where I don't take issue is I think both of these bills are kind of starting points, and then kind of just we'll see where we get. I do have hope that something positive. I'm glad that there are two filed. Like I'm glad that we've got to this point where there are two filed, and ideally there's something better in the middle that we're gonna kind of come to an agreement on. That's going to be best for kids, because something's got to change. I mean, something has got to change. I'm sick and tired of seeing the reports of HISD and all that they're failing to do for kids, and so I don't know. Something's got to change.
Yeah, I mean, Brad, you're not going to get any pushback here on what you're saying. I mean, I think we all agree there's the big elephant in the room, which is the politics of it all. The reason it's such a mess is because they're trying to cobble together votes. And part of it's since you've already dropped 2 F-bombs, part of it's a big fuck you to Abbott. Like he's like, we're going to do this. We can do this now, or we can do this after the election, basically threatening if you don't get this done, I'm going to take you out, right? And there's at least 12 Republicans in the House who are like, we're not worried about you. And part of that is because he historically, he hasn't flexed the muscles like he needs to. He doesn't care. All he wants to do is get it done in some form or fashion. So he can go tell people he got it done. So he can go say, yeah, Ron DeSantis got school choice done. So did we here in Texas. He doesn't necessarily care about the details that you're talking about. He's more interested in the talking point.
They never care about the details that I talk about. They should. They really should.
Yeah.
But does do you know more about this, Michael? Charles, maybe you do too. Is Abbott, does he have eyes on the White House?
I think at some point he had eyes on the White House. The old Jeff Rowe, no hard feelings towards Jeff Rowe, but the old model was, and we talked about this, was governor to White House. And I think Abbott started out on that path, and then Trump broke the model. And there's still people thinking that that we're still operating in that same paradigm, that the governorship is the launching pad to the White House, but also that this old style of Republican politics where you say the right things, but you don't deliver the results people actually want is going to get you popular support. And guess what? It's not, because conservatives are now demanding action. They're not going to take the talking points and lack of action.
One thing that I don't understand. So I get what you're saying about the reps kind of looking at this, not liking being threatened and not being that concerned, but I've not seen Abbott flex muscle on an issue as hard as he has on this. And you're heading into a primary season where he can keep calling you back. And like, he has laid everything on the line for this issue. And he's got a war chest that's massive, and people still really like him. And so like, if he wanted to just go to the wall on an issue and like take out any anger that he has on someone who's not like falling in line with this, like this would be the time to do it. And so if I were a state rep, particularly one in a vulnerable district, whether it's for a general or a primary, I'd be more inclined, especially also when you add on top of that the polling shows that people want this. People across all spectrums just want it. I would be more inclined to just be like, all right, I'm going to kind of give a little and come in on this issue, maybe try to get some concessions if I'm a rural Republican, but still get in on this issue, because if he goes to bat for this issue, it could mean the end of my career. And we know that a lot of them, all they care about is just coming back. Like that's what they want. So I don't know. I wouldn't, this isn't the one I would test him on.
Yeah, I don't know. He hasn't shown in the past that he's willing to go to the mat like that. So I see their perspective. I mean, Darby was on some news station, I don't know, Representative Darby, and he's like, well, nothing you can do will change my mind. Like, he's not concerned about his reelection at all. And part of that's because Abbott hasn't done it in the past. Will he do it here? Maybe, but I doubt it. I just think he wants a bill passed that he can say he passed school choice and the substance is less important. Maybe it's incrementalism. Maybe his strategy is we're going to get this done now and we'll make further gains. That's a fine strategy. But there was a way to do this that he could have put other priorities of the rural Republicans, especially conservative people, on the special session. I think he was trying to get this with vax mandates so they could go, yeah, we did this school choice thing that our school district doesn't like, but we also did border security. So keep his voters happy. I think there were some trade-offs, missed opportunities there.
I mean, it's just so like, if it's incrementalism, I think that's a dumb it's 6,300 or 63,000 students, and it's not enough to like really show a benefit. I don't think. If you want incrementalism, like go a little bit bigger. Make a big first step, and then show that it's going to work, and then go further if that's what it takes. But it's all this, hearing you guys talk about these bills and how stupid they are, it just makes me mad at people like Corey DeAngelis. Great guy, whatever. I'm sure he's, he does good work, spreading the good gospel of school choice and money following the student or funding students instead of systems or whatever the hell he says. But he always, he tweets out this stuff like Arizona just passed a bill funding students instead of systems. Texas just passed the bill, blah, blah, blah. And then I hear you talk about it. I was like, that's not what they did. That's not good enough. I can't imagine anybody being happy about this once they hear the actual details. If they ever hear the details, it's probably no one's going to know because it's going to, most people don't actually read the bill. And it makes me question. All right, did DeSantis actually, like, what's it like there? Does he have a better system? Is it 100% of the students, or is it 0.5% like we're going to have here?
I don't know the details, but this brings up a bigger question. Why?
Sorry,
come on, guys.
We got a little bit of a lag. I think it brings up a bigger question about why is this so hard in a Republican-controlled House? Like the school administrators, the superintendents, the school boards are a behemoth. They sent out a letter. Frisco ISD sent a letter saying, and I'm not kidding, that if you pass school choice and we lose, I can't remember what it was, like one student per classroom, we're going to have to turn off the air conditioning.
Looks like Texas bedrooms.
Like,
exactly.
But that's why. Because that's how much money they think he thinks he's going to lose. Like, it's crazy that the schools are going to get to keep, like, they're going to get more money per student if students leave, right? That doesn't make sense to me either. Like, don't they get like a $8,000 for the savings account, but then the school gets like an extra $2,000 or something like that, right? Didn't I hear that somewhere?
I didn't hear that. Maybe, but I didn't hear that. I did hear part of that in the conversation when they were talking about school choice in the Senate conversation. I don't know if that was in the final bill, but I do recall hearing something of that sort. I just don't know if that made it in the bill or not.
Maybe they need to fire some administrators. If it comes down to keeping the AC on or off, fire an administrator. Maybe the superintendent needs to take a pay cut. Some of those guys make a shitload of money.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't need, I think AISD has like, I don't know, I looked at the organizational chart one time and they have like 12 vice presidents of elementary schools or something crazy. That's not exactly right, but it's stupid how many administrators they have. Like, you don't need that much. Cut a few and keep the AC on.
If you have to pick, yeah. You're probably
yeah.
But imagine being a bureaucrat, like really sitting down to type that letter, being like, if you pass this, we're going to have to turn the AC off for these kids in Texas. Like, that's crazy. And that's incredibly desperate. And that's where we are, though, that they feel so entitled that you're really going to send something like that. Say, we're going to turn the AC off for the children if you don't pass this. Like, if you do pass this, that's crazy. That is crazy.
I wonder how much of the hesitation is also just, the teachers union. It's not a super powerful teachers union in Texas, but it's still a lot of voters, right? That's a lot of voters. And if you upset the teachers union and they send out, a message to all their members, then teachers, those are jobs, right? And then the last thing you want to do as a public official is make someone lose their job, heaven forbid. I think that's a big part of the hesitation as well. Because even in Texas, the teachers, if they band together and vote for somebody else, that would be a huge loss, a huge voting block loss.
Yeah, and I think it's not even just teachers though too, because they're willing to do things like that letter. Like, they'll send letters home with their kids to the kids' parents saying like, this is what they're doing to your child's teacher, and then the parents are going to get fired up too. So yeah, it is a big voting block. And Randy Weingarten is going to be here on Monday with the teachers union in Houston, having a rally about something. Her and Sheila Jackson Lee. And so, you know, they are a group. While the union in and of itself probably doesn't have that power, I think the teachers, in the way that they're viewed in the community do. And then certainly when you add on to that, the parents who they have, you know, contact with can influence things.
Union dues. You're telling me you're telling me the teachers in Palestine ISD are liberals? No, they're conservative teachers, and they're paying their money to a teacher union that's pushing liberal policies and pushing liberal, trying to elect liberal people. But they don't know, because they're just like, oh yeah, we're part of this teachers union, and my money for my dues to pay the union just comes out of my paycheck, and I don't think about it. The state just automatically deducts it and sends it to the teachers union, and then the teachers union goes to city hall, or not city hall, to the legislature, says they're going to turn the air conditioning off, and fear mongers and tries to stop this legislation. There needs to be some push on the right to create first get rid of union dues, then create a competing organization that's conservative teachers, that represents conservative teachers in Texas. That's my
a conservative union
association.
Association, excuse me.
There we go. Association can't be called a union. Come on.
There's got to be lots of teachers out there that are conservative that are just giving their money to these organizations that are stopping reform.
Yeah,
I agree.